You know, my dad used to say, wherever you go, there you are. Well, here in Polk County, it seems like there's nowhere that you could want to go that Polk Transit can't take you. And here to talk to us about some of the great new services that Polk Transit offers is Tom Phillips, the Executive Director of Polk Transit, and also Paul Simmons, the Deputy Executive of Polk Transit. Guys, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, we're here to talk about a specific program that you guys have started up, but first of all, I just want to kind of recap some of the things that have been going on, because there are so many new things that are happening with Polk Transit. One of the big things is the new call center. Talk about the new call center that's available for people.
Sure, Paul.
Well, back in June 17th, we had our opening ceremony, our groundbreaking of our call center. And basically this is a combination, a consolidation of Citrus Connection and their call facility, Winter Haven Area Transit, and Polk County Transit Services. This was made possible by our Veterans Initiative, Community Living Initiative grant that we received a couple of years ago. So instead of calling Citrus Connection now at one number,
right,
for their services, Winter Haven at another number, and Polk County Transit Services at another number, we now have one toll-free number that you can call, 1-855-POLK-BUS, and you can get all the information under that one number and book all your trips, ADA, Medicaid, TD funded trips through this one call center. So it truly has been something that we've worked very hard on, combining the technology and our software to get where we are today. So,
and that's huge. That's huge for ridership. You know, being able to just dial in one number, you know, punch up one website and know everything that you need is going to be right there in that one location. That's awesome.
And we will see many more efficiencies come out of this as we work closely, as we schedule all our buses within the county. We will gain efficiencies from preventing the same buses going to the same places with two vehicles, and we can do it with one. So.
And speaking of efficiencies, I've noticed a lot of new vehicles on the road, some smaller size vehicles that you're using to kind of subsidize some of that ridership that is very specialized. Talk to us a little bit about some of the non-traditional.
Well, the county is responsible for all emergency transportation during hurricanes, and we take folks to special care shelters. And for years, we've done that with larger buses because they're traveling through storms. And like in 2004, we were out there till 11 o'clock at night transporting folks. So that was the reason why our paratransit buses were the size that they are. But now, you know, times are getting tough, and so we're looking at purchasing smaller vehicles. And in order to do that, in a storm situation, we're out there an hour or two even earlier than we would be. Okay, but we're being more efficient with these smaller vehicles. We've just purchased 3 MV1s. They're called. They're like an SUV perhaps, but they hold 4 ambulatory folks, and they also have a wheelchair ramp, a manual wheelchair ramp, where you can tie down 2 wheelchairs in those vehicles.
Now, so. I know, you know, the buses, as efficient as we try to make them, you know, keeping them up to date in maintenance and all that stuff, there's still a huge fuel expense with driving those around. And these smaller MV1s, and even some of I've seen even some smaller stuff than the MV1s, you know, has to be a huge fuel savings.
It really is, and we've looked at the service delivery model across the board. You may notice in the Lakeland area, we were using buses that were 40 feet in length. I mean, the biggest bus you can buy before you get into an articulated bus, which has the kind of accordion in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
And now you're seeing us move to 30 and 35-foot vehicles, because one of the things that we've looked at is not only is it cheaper to maintain those vehicles, are they more fuel efficient because they're smaller, but we're redefining what a full bus in Polk County means.
Right.
A full bus isn't every seat is taken. A full bus is every seat is taken and all the standing room is taken. So yes, we may ask able-bodied individuals to stand from time to time because the buses are smaller, but that's part of being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. But most importantly, and what probably isn't as well known, I mean, you see a smaller bus on the road, you get it, that's cheaper to operate.
Right.
It's like buying an economy car as compared to an SUV. But what most people don't realize is the Board of County Commissioners and the Citrus Connection joined a fuel consortium with Hillsborough and Pinellas counties, where we're now bulk purchasing our fuel. And we're currently paying 0.0001% below the rack rate. So we are getting better than the lowest price in the entire Tampa Bay region for our fuel.
Wow.
And we're able to do that because we added the purchasing power of the Board of County Commissioners and the Citrus Connection with Tampa Bay and Hillsborough area and Pinellas.
Yeah.
So we're getting a fantastic fuel price that also the school board, who's a huge consumer of fuel, is able to take advantage of. Yeah. So when you start talking about efficiencies, it's running government with business-like principles, and the more bulk fuel we can purchase, the better it works out for everybody. So some of it you can see on the road, and some of it you can't, but we're looking at all facets of how we save the taxpayer dollars.
Now, you had mentioned the school board. I want to kind of transition a little bit before we get into the COLTS program, which is what we really want to talk about. I also want to touch on the fact that one of the great triumphs that I think Polk Transit has had is really seeing an increased ridership in college-age students. And of course, then that leads into kind of your COLTS program. But talk a little bit about you know, what is still going on as it's growing, who's involved with the colleges and things like that.
Sure. So I'm guessing most of your viewership, you know I'm new to Florida, but I can say that if you're a Gator or you're a Knoll, that if you went to either of those colleges, riding the bus was part of your student activities fees.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you could ride the bus for the 4, 6, 8 years that you were there, hopefully not longer than 8 unless you got a PhD. But so we decided 2 years ago, Paul and I partnered up and said, why aren't we doing this for Polk County? Because if it's one thing that Polk County has, it's an amazing amount of higher educational institutions. So we approached Dr. Holden at Polk State College and said, let's try this here in Polk County. We think it'll work, but we're not sure. And Dr. Holden just said, let's give it a try. We'll never know if it doesn't happen. So through her vision, we launched the Eagle Soar Free program. And it started April 24th of 2011. And the 20,000 students, faculty, and staff of Polk State College could ride any of the Polk Transit buses, Winter Haven or Citrus Connection, for free because Dr. Holden entered into a funding arrangement with us. What this has meant is within the first year, we went from 2,400 rides a month to 15,800.
Oh my God.
So
that's crazy.
I mean, it's just, we don't even put a percentage next to it because it's like, you know, 5,000%. It doesn't. People wouldn't believe it.
Well, and the cool thing is you're introducing public transportation to a sect of the population that has never been involved with it, and they're starting young.
Right, and what we found is the student fare for a Polk State College student is $2.50, and that lets them ride for 24 hours, an unlimited number of rides.
Right.
Let's be frank. The Polk State College students have $2.50 to ride the bus every day.
Yeah.
What the Eagle Soar Free program, the Universal Access program, shows is when we reduce that barrier to transit access, whether it be 855 Polk bus that Paul had mentioned, or just letting them ride for free through showing their ID badge. And remember, it's not free, somebody's paying for it, i.e. Dr. Holden and the administration, that they tried it. They tried it to get to class. And then they said, well, wait a second, this works for class. Let's try it for work. Let's try it for a social outing. Let's try it on the weekends. That's how we got from 2,400 rides to almost 16,000. Southeastern universities followed suit, so we know it works whether you live on campus or you're a commuter college like Polk State College. USF Lakeland's followed suit. Everest University, Pace Center for Girls, Learning Resource Center,
Wow.
the 1,300 model citizens of Legoland.
I mean, everybody's coming on board.
Really, it's
Yeah.
very exciting. Again, you know, the Ledger likes to say these are ride-free programs, but they're not. They're subsidy
Right.
programs. So what the students or the employees would have paid into the fare box, someone else is paying. But it's really exciting because we've seen 25,000 more rides per month
Right.
than we were doing a year ago. And Winter Haven Area Transit had its best year ever at over 600,000 rides.
That's amazing. Now, the college kids are one thing, but you had mentioned that the school board is one of the largest consumers. You know, has the largest amount of buses on the road, a huge consumer of fuel. The COLTS program. Let's talk about how that affects the school board and what the program is actually about.
Sure. So this summer, we entered into a very small pilot program with the school board. And during the superintendent transition, there was a recognition that kids typically spend the summer in a learning slide. So we proposed covering a paltry 300 students with a universal access program where they could ride the bus system through a subsidization with the school board so they could get to after-school activities. And we were tracking the learning outcomes with the school board over the summer, and the results were phenomenal. The Ledger did a ride along with a student who lived in Auburndale, who was going to Harrison School for the Arts,
Okay.
and had very good experiences all summer, and would not have been able to have taken these enrichment programs if not been for the program. Superintendent Leroy was hired, and we made the pitch to cover all high school students who go to public schools in Polk County under a COLTS program. And COLTS stands for Community of Learning Transportation Service, COLTS.
Yeah.
We wanted to have something cool.
Yes.
I'm sorry, kids don't even use the word cool anymore. So whatever word they
Hip
use,
rad.
we wanted it hip rad, yeah, we're showing our age. But we wanted it to be something that the students would like, so we branded it the COLTS program. And it's a parent optional program. The parents have the option of signing a permission slip. They turn that into their school, and then they receive a transit sticker on their student IDs that they already have. That allows the student a year-long free access to any of the bus services in Polk County, so they can get to and from after-school activities,
That's great.
participate in debate, athletic activities, but we're also covering them on Saturdays so they can get jobs, they can go shopping, and then we're covering them all summer as well. So you think of that parent who's got the teenage
what
child.
a godsend for the parents.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
always running back and forth.
Yeah, no more
trying to-
Xbox all summer,
Yeah.
right? I mean, tell them to take their transit pass, go to the skate park, go to the libraries, take advantage of all that Polk County has to offer. And most people don't recognize this, but Polk County is the 11th largest school board in the nation. There are over 25,000 high school students in Polk County. So theoretically, all 25,000, if their parents sign the permission slip, can participate in the COLTS program.
Wow. Now let me ask you something that's a little bit off the radar, but with all these students riding the bus, what is the age range for the COLTS program? I mean, because I'm sure a lot of parents are thinking, well, is it safe just to have my kids just hop onto public transit and off they go to wherever it is they're going? How do you kind of address that?
Well, all of our drivers undergo a level 2 FBI background check. So they're sent through all 50 states. We check the backgrounds. Our drivers receive extensive training from one of the best trainers in the state. They go through CPR, and so we fully vetted our drivers. All of our vehicles have camera systems on board. As a matter of fact, when folks do a ride along, they can actually get a copy of their tape to see their entire trip from the time they got on till the time that they got off. And our buses are typically filled with people that are just like you and I. So if a parent's concerned about that, again, we only cover high school students fare free. So it's 9th grade to 12th grade. But if a parent has any concerns about whether or not public transit is safe for their student, I would recommend giving it a try. Take a Saturday or go after school and try the bus system. Maybe just ride a few blocks or ride downtown Lakeland or downtown Winter Haven and just try out the system and see if it's right for your student. If you feel like it's not right for them at 9th grade, hopefully we'll be back next year with the COLTS program, and maybe 10th grade's the right time.
Yeah.
Or during the school year, you'd rather have your child on the yellow school bus. go ahead and do that, but maybe when summer comes around and the option is they have to sit at home all summer because they can't get to and from a job, or they're able to ride the bus, then we'd want that to be there. But from a safety perspective, it is much safer to be in a public transit vehicle than it is to be in a personal use vehicle, and it is certainly safer to be in a public transit vehicle than it is to be walking on the side of the road, which is really what we want to have students not do.
When these kids ride on the COLTS program, I mean, are these specialized routes? Is it going to the, directly to the schools, or are they, your standard routes?
Sure. Exclusively, there are standard routes. Mm-hmm. So it includes parents can find the routes one of two ways. They can go to Google Transit, or they can go to www.findmyroutes, plural, findmyroutes.com, and that lists all of the routes throughout the system. It is access to the existing bus system as it is today. These are not specialized routes for the schools. So in some cases, like Lakeland High School or Winter Haven, the bus system lets off almost literally right in front of the door. Then there's other instances like George Jenkins, where it's a few miles between the bus stop and the front door of the school. We're actually prohibited by federal law from running particular school bus routes. So it's optional. But what I will say is this. Just because the bus stop is a few miles from a George Jenkins student's front door of the school doesn't mean that the parents should not sign up for the COLTS program. What I'd encourage parents to do is look at, well, in that instance, taking the yellow school bus to and from home probably makes more sense from a safety perspective because it's almost a door-to-door service. Right. However, what are your child's transportation needs over the summer? Right. And what are their transportation needs on Saturdays and for after-school activities? So if you're a Geico Academy student, which is at George Jenkins, those students are guaranteed summer jobs at the Geico call center out by the airport. Guess where our buses go? Directly to the Geico call center. So in that case, the student may want to ride the school bus to and from school, but then use the COLTS program to get to that summer job at Geico.
Excellent. That's terrific. This sounds like a terrific program, not only for students, but but for parents of students. Like I said, what a godsend. Where can they find information on how to sign up, information on how the program works, things like that?
Well, the kids can get that information through each individual school. There is a parent permission slip that they must sign, and then they will get a sticker to put on their ID cards, their school ID cards. And with that, and this is the sticker. I just happen to have one.
Just a little thing in the bottom corner there.
Yeah, and that will give them free access. So, but you can find more information out at on our website, polktransit.net, and we have a few videos. Matter of fact, that we partnered with PGTV to do. One is for the parents, and then one is for the child, for the kids. So so we speak both languages and try to answer all the questions and concerns that we can. So.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on, Paul, Tom. Appreciate it. It's always great to have you guys on and hear about all the different things that Polk Transit is doing and accomplishing in this county.
We appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Yeah. That's the Polk Transit COLTS program. This is terrific. Parents, this is going to be awesome for you and for the kids to be able to get to and from where they need to go, after school programs, things like that. Terrific. So the easiest way to find out more information, get involved with this, is like Paul said, go to their website at polktransit.net. You can find out all kinds of information. They've got videos on there to make it easy for you to watch those videos, one for the parents, one for the kids. You can contact them at 1-855-POLK-BUS. That's 1-855-765-5287. They're making this so easy for you. All you got to do is get a form from your school, fill it out, and you're going to be set to go to use this great new program, the COLTS program by Polk Transit. Get on board.